here with us. Chanel will be recording this session if that's in order. If it is not, you're welcome to switch off your cameras and we will not involve you in physically portray you in the meeting. I am going to be hosting today's session, and we will be running it according to this agenda, which you all received as part of the invite. I'm going to hand over soon to 𝗿𝗶𝗶𝗵𝗲𝗹𝗶 to take us through the question why an online MDP, and I'll be giving you a little look at the online MDP, and then we'll be talking about the intakes. While we're presenting, we're quite mindful that we want to do this in a half an hour, so we're going to be fast, and we ideally want to clock this in 20 minutes so that we have lots of time to chat about your questions and queries. We want to encourage you to pop as many questions as possible into the chat. This will allow us afterwards to also see if we need to address some of the questions specifically with you. And if we can't get to your questions during this Q&A session at the end, we'd love to come back to you with an answer for your question by email. So I'm going to hand over to 𝗿𝗶𝗶𝗵𝗲𝗹 with no further ado.
Thank you very much, Michelle. Good afternoon, colleagues. As Michelle has alluded, my name is 𝗿𝗶𝗶𝗵𝗵𝗶. I am the new Director for Digital Learning at Stellenbosch Business School Executive Development. And I thank all of you for joining us this afternoon. I know how precious time is, so I'm going to get straight into it. I'm going to start off with what the digital channel is and how does it fit into SBS Ed. We are a business unit within Ed that specializes in online asynchronous executive development. Now on screen, you'll see the different learning modalities. Think of them as platforms or channels through which you can learn at Ed. As some of you might know, the Management Development Program, historically our flagship program, started off in the face-to-face classroom environment, which was later adapted to remote and blended learning as a result of the pandemic. And now we are excited to finally offer the MDP online in an asynchronous fashion, meaning self-paced online learning. And this particularly provides participants with the flexibility to learn at their own pace, in their own space. And it furthermore allows organizations the ability, to develop leaders at scale at a more affordable rate despite the location. Perhaps before I go a bit further, I'd like for us to have a look at the short video that provides an overview of the online or hybrid MDP and introduce several of the concepts I'd like to refer to. Michelle?
Thank you. Now for the question, did I share with sound on? But I'm sure you'll all alert me. I did not. Here we go. Yeah, unfortunately with load shedding, everything seems to be buffering everywhere. So if you'll just be patient with me, thanks. Stellenbosch Business School Executive Development offers the Management Development Programme in a face-to-face, remote or online learning environment, or a combination of modalities in a hybrid learning design. The online MDP replicates the face-to-face or remote learning experience in a fully online asynchronous environment, meaning that learning can happen as and when it fits into the busy lifestyle of MDP participants. Logging in, learning and assessing can all be done on the Stellenbosch Business School Executive Development Moodle online learning platform at any time from anywhere. All 6 modules of the MDP can be completed online, in which case the same MDP outcomes assessments and certification through Stellenbosch University applies. Hybrid solutions are also available, where there's the option for MDP participants to pursue one or more of the MDP modules online. This works particularly well in a customized MDP, where the learning journey is built around the needs of the client's organization. The learning experience in this online and hybrid MDP has been designed to include learning content replicated from the classroom and enriched with videos and other online learning resources, knowledge quizzes, real examples and discussions on the forum. assignments, and the popular business-driven action learning assessment is replicated in the online environment. A learning process facilitator guides online learners, integrates learning, and helps them prepare for the BDAL. We know that different clients and participants have different needs, and we aim to offer omni-channel learning to meet the wide variety of needs in terms of preferred or required learning channels. Stellenbosch Business School Executive Development offers you the choice in your management development: face-to-face, remote, synchronous, online asynchronous, or a hybrid solution that works best for you.
Thank you very much, Michelle. All right, perfect. Now, as you've seen in the video and mentioned a bit earlier, we have succeeded as SBS Ed in developing multiple modes of delivery, which furthermore allows clients the option to select an option that is best suited for their job requirements as well as their lifestyle requirements. The target market needs that we are aiming at here is essentially to address those who are shift workers, retail staff, the travelers, leaders with hectic schedules or deadlines, as well as to those who work remotely. And we all know that it's quite difficult for people to take chunks of time out of their day for learning purposes. We also find that the younger generation, Gen Z, as we know them, enjoy learning in asynchronous and online environment as they are digital natives themselves. I'll go down to the method there as well. The online MDP allows participants to learn in an asynchronous manner, dedicating 5 to 7 hours per week to self-paced learning. We do realize that engagement and interaction is an important part of learning at this level. Thus, we have added synchronous webinars and the popular BDAL panel presentations, not forgetting our learning process facilitator to connect with syndicate groups and help steer learning in the correct direction. I'm now going to hand over back to Michelle, who's now going to take you through the online MDP experience. Over to you, Michelle.
Thank you. It was an interesting one to develop the online MDP, and it's something that since I joined Ed in 2019, we'd been dreaming about doing, but it seemed really difficult. I mean, you have to take something that works in a face-to-face classroom environment. It's already been transferred into a remote environment, and how do you now take that content and without just simply emulating a classroom environment, actually really digitalize it to meet the needs of online learners? I was very happy to work with these faculty members, and they helped me to resolve these problems. All of the faculty members that you see here have been selected for their online MDP modules. And what made them so great to partner with is that they're absolute veterans. They've run their modules over and over for online or for MDPs in a classroom and remote format, and they were amazing in helping me to structure and develop the online learning content. So we developed learning material that is pacey, that draws on the slides, examples, and classroom facilitation tools that these facilitators used. And we packaged it together in these exciting learning files that allow for self-paced learning, but also in an engaging way. I'd like to take an opportunity to just stop sharing here and take you guys to what this platform would look like, so you just get a feel for it. Stand by. There we go. I have to toggle between screens here. So this is the environment of business module. As you can see, we've actually embedded videos of the faculty lecturing and introducing the modules. We've got sort of click and reveals in there. Images that unpack gradually with the learning material underneath it, little folding concertina files, and it's all been done this way so that these are the same slide decks that faculty speak to in the classroom, but it's created and packaged differently for the online classroom. So I just wanted to give you a look at what the learning material looks like. We also track learning, as you can see here on the left-hand column. We track the progress of the learner through the modules to make sure that they cover every single lesson and all of the learning content. Just to return back to my presentation, that one. So you've had a look at the learning material and the design of it and what that looks like. This is a high-level overview of the learning journey. We start with the pre-course orientation, and I'm showing you the journey for our 13 March intake, first fully online MDP intake. We do a pre-course orientation, familiarize, and that'll be in a synchronized session like this, where everybody's on the call together, where they meet the team. Learning journey is explained to them. They meet their LPF, or learning process facilitator, and they're divided into their syndicate groups already here at the start. We then take them iteratively through the modules, and really the modules are unpacked in this format for the online environment, but they can be shuffled according to business needs. And as you can see, we allow little gaps between the modules so that they can just have that learning process facilitator feedback loop. So all the time the learning material is being applied to this final BDAL, business driven action learning presentation, and we'll have dry runs before that. So this is the typical flow of a face-to-face or remote MDP, except that the modules are released iteratively and not in study blocks. We're also very excited to say that, and this is us geeking out here on our learning platform. So we use Moodle as our learning platform, and we've just developed a newer and much fancier version of Moodle that we call the space theme. We will be deploying the online MDP on the space theme, as you can see, nice and fresh, peeling, and the tile-based format makes it easier for learners to identify which lesson, which module, which activity they're going into. So this is a little bit of what it will look like on the Moodle learning platform for learners. Exciting stuff. I'm handing you back to 𝗟𝗶𝗶𝗵𝗲𝗶 to talk about intake dates and registration.
Thank you very much, Michelle. I see that we are moving at the speed of lightning here. In a nutshell, we do have our open intakes. We've got two respective ones, as you see on the screen. The first one is scheduled for March the 13th, and the second open intake is for May the 22nd. We also do have the option to customize intake dates for closed cohorts. And that is something that as an organization would have to be organized through myself in a separate session. And for the option for hybrid modules, I think Michelle will also unpack should there be any questions later on, which can be customized for organizations as well. So as the channel director for digital, it would be a sin for me not to mention the other exciting online courses we've got coming up. As you can see on the screen, we do have our project management that's coming up, our negotiation skills as well as our mental health and wellness at work program that's coming up in the next 2 months. And here you see our latest developed courses. This is our graduate program, our Future Managers Development Program, as well as our advanced project management. And last but not least, we are very excited about these 2 new courses. This is our Women in Leadership that we will own, as well as the MBA Essentials, which will both be starting in May as well as in June, respectively. Should there be any interest in any of those other courses over and above the MDP, please do not hesitate to contact me. I know all of you already have my details, and I've already opened up to receiving calls on my cell phone, which I appreciate as well. I think now what we'll do, Michelle, is that we will hand over to our guests for any questions. We would love to hear from you. We'll open the floor for questions, and I think anything we can't answer in this session, please pop your questions in the chat and we will revert to you via email at a later stage. Thank you.
I've just looked in the chat, but there's a whole lot of hellos and good to see yous in the chat and no actual questions to work with. Please, can you raise your hand? Let us know if you have any questions for us. Vikani is giving us a thumbs up.
I'm saying thank you very much for the information, for the info session. Really appreciate it. Thanks.
Thanks, Vikani. It's nice of you to attend.
Michelle,
Chanel,
Bonnie.
hi.
Hi, I have some questions about a customized program. If we were to customize it for our organization, how does the timing work? Do you stick quite strictly to the timeframes? Is there like a maximum amount of time that it needs to be covered in? Or is there quite a lot of flexibility in how we can run that?
Great question, Bonnie. So the MDP typically runs over about 20 weeks. How we package that in the online environment really depends on you. We could also extend it and take breaks in between. A great example of that would be, for instance, if the December holidays falls in between study blocks, then we would typically, even for a classroom or a remote MDP, take a break in that period. So Bonnie, I would suggest that we don't drag it out longer than 20 weeks. You know, that seems like a lifetime for some learners. But within that 20-week, we can work with you to structure it in the way that makes the best sense for you.
Thank you. And then another question related to that, then the topics for the BDAL, are we able to customize those project topics as well?
Ooh, yes. So the project topics for the BDAL typically work with a business initiative and building a business case for that. What we have done for some of our closed intakes, for instance, if it is a organization's intake, is we have customized the topic to burning issues within that organization. So absolutely, if it is a closed cohort of 20 of your own learners, we can customize that BDAL topic according to your needs.
Thanks.
Other questions? Warren.
Yes. So I just want to find out. So now, when the program has been customized, what becomes the minimum requirements? I mean, it does not help customizing a program and you are customizing it for 2 people. What will be the minimum requirement number of candidates?
Thanks, Warren. Yeah, it's actually a question we wrestle with often because, you know, let's say you are, I know Sanlam's on this call. Let's say Sanlam wants their own version of the MDP. It would still be an MDP if the most of it is actually normal MDP content. If we have an opportunity to customize it, if there is a closed cohort, we can customize a part of it to the organization's needs. However, I think you might be talking about if your company is company X and you want to put 20 people into an online MDP, but you'd like that online MDP themed around company X. For instance, if it is a travel company, you'd like travel examples and you'd like the webinars to focus on travel. That is entirely doable for a closed cohort of, let's say, 15 or more of your learners. And we can customize it for you in terms of the look and feel of your Moodle platform, adding your logo in. We can customize it for you in terms of examples and case studies that your faculty use in webinars. We can customize it for you in terms of assignment topics, etc. Does that answer your question, Warren? So we'll meet you where you need to be met, basically.
Okay. Yes. It answered my question. Thank you.
Thank you. Tatu.
Good afternoon, thanks. My question actually is an extension of Warren's question, wherein if perhaps we don't want the level of customization, so if we don't want the webinars per se, or we don't even want it to be white labeled, so the content may still be as generic as you're currently offering it, but if we want to add certain elements, so if we want to maybe do like as an elective, add 1 or 2 things that are within our Nashua space, is that something that you are open to considering? And
Oh,
then,
yes. I think anybody of the ed people on this call are open to considering that. We would definitely accommodate you in terms of designing a journey that's then suited to Nashua. I know some of my colleagues, Maureen and Vernon in the room, they run the customized channel, and they are literally doing this all the time with their MDPs, where they're adding, let's say, an innovation module or a, you know, according to the client's needs. So we can definitely do that for you, Tato. Within the online space, it's actually quite easy to do that because of your online learning assets are all there, and we can just slice and dice what we have for you. I would definitely recommend that you chat to 𝗿𝗶𝗴𝗶, our channel director, and just work out something with her that works for Nashua. So I get what you're saying, like a whitewashed MDP is a great idea, but let's add some special spice or something that's of particular strategic interest to Nashua. Definitely can do.
fantastic. Thank you, Michelle.
Who else? I did think that we were going to get a question around, have we run the online MDP yet in this format, and does it work? Like, and it's interesting because when I started talking about the online MDP in 2019, I was told it can't be done, Michelle, it can't be done. We do this in the classroom. It only works in the classroom. And it's amazing how COVID changed that mindset for all of us, and then how we were able to just go the next step into the online environment. We recently tested 3 of our online MDP modules with a closed intake from a large motor vehicle company. And we found some interesting results. In the first module, we had to do a little bit of, let's call it learner encouraging, because they weren't used to working in the online space. But as soon as we started tracking and giving them feedback on their progress, it was amazing to see them all just like biting and going, oh, great, like now I'm getting into it. And then the webinars helped tremendously. And what we found is by the time it was the 3rd module, they were working through the learning content at speed, and the application of that to the BDAL was seamless. The journey has since been completed, and we haven't seen any variation in the level of learning. I guess that's always the question, right? The acid test. Did they really get the online learning message as well as they would have gotten the classroom message? And we can tell you that, like, definitely yes, because we didn't see any variation in the quality levels of the application of the modules to the BDALs. So I'm very happy about that. I interrogated that so that I could stand here and not lie and truly tell you what happened there. So it definitely does work with a little bit of learner encouragement, perhaps at the beginning. Other questions for us? Marie.
So I'm going to pretend I'm one of the attendees from a company perspective, because that's my background.
Yes, Mrs.
I just want to ask, Michelle, so as this is asynchronous and that's the intention, if I, for instance, cannot attend the webinars, which is synchronous like we are now, will it be recorded? Because I also have FOMO of missing out on the webinars, but for instance, I might be a delegate that work shifts, and that's the exact reason why I actually joined this asynchronous program, not to be expected to show up at any live events. So I was just wondering about that.
It's always the tension point, isn't it, Marie, between like, we're going to let you do this totally on your own online, and sure, we need to see each other's faces, man, and make time for that. So we do have synchronous aspects like the webinars built into our MDP, simply so that delegates can connect like this. If you are not able to make it, and we do understand, like, this is tailored for shift workers, retail workers, people who can't get online like this during the day. If you are unable to make this webinar, then we record it for you and we will release it, the recording, to you. What we found with the Future Managers Development Program that we ran last year for the first time with our graduates is a lot of our participants were graduates or in internships in organizations, and they didn't have the bandwidth or the time because of their like hectically paced internship program. But did they make the time? Ne? They were there. They were there for those webinars, and they were very communicative and active in them. So I do think it's something they look forward to. If you can't make it, we totally understand. The webinars are an extra sort of an add-on. No new learning content is discussed there.
That's wonderful. Both ends. Thank you.
Yes, indeed. Any other questions from our clients? 𝗏𝗏𝗶𝗵𝗲𝗶, I've hardly given you a moment to speak.
No, most of it is design related. So that's your portion, Michelle. I would like to extend to some of our colleagues that are joining us. Please feel free to contact me via email or via my cell phone much quicker. Should you have any questions or more questions for myself or Michelle regarding intakes, regarding design of intake, or even regarding customization options, which seems to be the theme today. I do see that we've got 2 minutes left. We made it. We thought 30 minutes was actually quite short. We wanted to extend it a bit. But thank you so much to everybody who has attended. I do look forward to us interacting further on. And I will be in touch most definitely. Michelle, any words from you?
Nothing from me, except to remind you to download the online MDP brochure and just to check the applications link that's in the chat.
Definitely.
Thank you, everybody, for your time.
Thank you very much.